So he said I should have an angel following me. I said, I have more than one. He winked and nodded a knowing yes, and we both laughed as he gave me wellness instructions on how to get fit and well again. 2 weeks of talking to brother about my trip to the other side and hearing his own near-death experience from the other side kept me sane. However, as hard as I rationalized my experience, I failed in my mission in Africa. I could not face going home to America. Jane, my next door neighbor in Wilmington, found me by phone like she always did. God knows how. I called back collect. I told her I was dead broke, and I asked her to send me some money that I had given her before I left the States, anticipating an emergency like this. I told her, call John Flaherty at Joe Biden's office and see what can get done to get some cash over here. I am flat broke. After a few weeks, I met my former Afrikaner teacher, Erna, at a dinner party with some British diamond sorters. That's a whole other story for another time. And I heard her say she would love to drive to the West Coast through the Namib Desert to Swakopmund. I remembered Jimmy was there, and I asked her if I could hitch a ride. Her boyfriend, who was publicly gay, announced he could care less if we went on a trip together. This attitude of openness and tolerance was new for me to witness. Amazing. And she loaned me money until I got some cash from America to pay her back. A great soul, a true and real friend. We talked about the history of Namibia from the Afrikaner point of view. I had never heard that side before. Apartheid, which means the legal separation of the races, made sense to her. We drove all day through the desert to Swakopmund, yakking. We had a great lunch on arrival at the Mole by the Atlantic Ocean, among the tall, beautiful palm trees at the Strand Hotel. The Mole is kind of like I don't know what you'd call it in English. It's, well, there was like a beach surrounded by rocks going out to sea. That's the best I can give you. I marveled at the convenience stores and the friendliness of this small German-built town in Africa. Nothing I had seen to date was as beautiful as Swakopmund. I fell in love with Swakopmund at first sight. We traveled on up to Namib Desert coast, along a lonely and cold Atlantic Ocean, past the salt farms, staring at the waves crashing to Henry's cottage right on the beach at Hentis Bay. He encouraged me to visit it while I was healing and called the security team in advance while I was at his house in Caprivi. They were waiting for our arrival. We spent a platonic weekend walking and talking about the South African political situation, and she educated me about the other side. Hers, of course.